The One New Zealand Stadium at the Kaha site in Christchurch is a significant development in the city's post-earthquake revitalisation efforts. Scheduled to open in April 2026, this state-of-the-art arena is designed to host a variety of events, including sports, concerts and conferences. The stadium has a capacity of 30,000 seats covered by a roof for events all year round. The main contract for the stadium was awarded to B6 Watpac. The steel roof of the stadium was awarded to Jingong Steel International from China. Smith Crane and Construction was engaged by Jingong Steel International to provide crane hire services for the 9,000 tonne of steel making up the roof of the stadium, starting from December 2023 to February 2025. SCC provided crane hire services for the installation of various steel components making up the stadium's roof structure. This meant SCC had up to 15 cranes on site at a time during peak construction periods to meet the various lifting capacity requirements. The stadium was made up of 5 different steel components, starting with the perimeter of the stadium being installed from the south side, then installing the roof modules, progressing to the north side. It is important to highlight that there were multiple different components being installed at a time when the project was underway. The first lifts that took place were for the 36 radial trusses located around the stadium frame. The radial trusses were a crucial component of the stadium's roof support system, providing the structural framework for the roof. Each truss weighs between 45 and 80 tonne. The vertical steel columns stand 37 metres tall and 10 metres wide. Cranes were often holding the radial trusses in place for up to 11 days at a time, while these were being welded and bolted into place. This required SCC to have operators working night shifts 7 days a week. Once installation of the radial trusses was progressing, the installation of radial diaphragm modules which cantilever off the radial trusses began. There were 18 radial diaphragm modules known as RDMs weighing up to 80 tonne each. The RDMs were assembled on site in a jig located at the north end of the stadium. One of the biggest challenges faced with the RDMs was having to walk these in approximately 150 metres from the north side, where they were placed down to the south side. There were 9 oculus trusses, OTs, that made up a component of the roof. These weigh between 80 to 100 tonne each. The OTs also required walking the module into position from the north side where they were assembled for final positioning in the south. There were 13 oculus modules, OMs, in total, making up the 3 roof trusses that span across the field. These are prefabricated on site in the assembly area, weighing between 50 and 80 tonne each. These are then combined to the OTs to form the roof structure. Similarly to the RDMs, the OTs and OMs also required walking in from the assembly areas to the inside of the stadium for positioning. This progressively became more challenging due to the high volume of heavy plant working inside the stadium, such as the 2 hydraulic towers holding up the roof segments. Once the OMs were installed, the stadium really started to take shape. When the project schedule was approaching the final 4 RDMs on the north side, Jingong Steel International approached SCC to see if there were any alternative lifting solutions to install the RDMs from the outside, as the working areas were congested with multiple cranes at work. SCC proposed that New Zealand's largest crane, the Liebherr LTR 11200 1200 tonne telescopic crawler crane, was the solution to this challenge, as it could install the RDMs from the outside of the stadium, accelerating the program. This solution allowed the CC 2800 to continue working in other areas, installing modules. Once the RDMs were complete, the LTR 11200 and CC 2800 simultaneously lifted the final 2 RDTs, closing the perimeter of the stadium. The RDTs weighed 120 tonne each and took multiple days to get bolted and welded into place. Installing the final modules closed out a significant phase of the project, with these being the heaviest lifts involved. Throughout the duration of the project, all operations were carried out with a strong focus on safety, efficiency and collaboration. The busy site meant that there were always multiple cranes operating. Welding work was constant, alongside steel components being delivered and assembled. There could be up to 300 people on site daily, making communication key to ensuring all risks were mitigated. Over 1.7 million working hours have gone into the stadium's steel structure, built in just 14 months. SCC established a team on site led by a site manager and consisted of up to 20 crane operators and riggers that would regularly work on night shifts, completing lifts at 3 AM and operating cranes holding trusses in place for multiple days at a time. Given the tight project timeline, the site's activities continued right through the Christmas break, with operators continuing to work long hours, committed to getting this project completed. Working through this period meant a significant milestone in the project was reached, with 90% of the steel in place on New Year's Eve. Although 90% of the workforce was local, there were many international workers on site. This often meant that there were language barriers, cultural differences, and interpretation complications. SCC and Jingong Steel International worked closely together on site to ensure communication was clear and well understood by all workers involved to ensure there would be no major health and safety incidents. A key part of this was holding daily site meetings, health and safety meetings, and communicating continuously before and during each lift. Overall, this project was successful, with the 9,000 tonne of steel being installed. SCC was proud to not only complete all lifts, but have no health and safety incidents on this project. This was attributed to the commitment from our team on site to maintain the highest safety standards in all aspects of their work. This project has allowed SCC to gain valuable experience and knowledge in construction of large-scale stadiums and has been a great challenge for all involved. This project displayed the capabilities of our extensive fleet of cranes and talented employees. SCC would like to thank our valued client, Jingong Steel International, for selecting us to complete this complex project and looks forward to working with Jingong in the future. A quick message from our client.
Hi, I'm Stephen Lam of Jingong Steel International, working on the One New Zealand Stadium in Christchurch. It has been a pleasure working with Smith Crane and Construction on this project. It has been a demanding project and required a lot of planning and long hours from the team as well. Smith Crane provides great initiative in suggesting to use the LTR 11200 to lift the RDM from the outside. It is more efficient and shortens the program. The performance in health and safety consistently at high standard, with no incident on site and complies with all requirements. I've enjoyed working with the whole team of Smith Crane on this project, and I look forward to work with them in the near future.